Thank you very much, Raya. Good morning, everybody. Boker Tov, and welcome to the special edition of Kabbalah Café, Friday morning, right here in Yerushalayim. Beautiful, beautiful Yerushalayim over here. Wonderful to be here. Unbelievable. Wow, I found the perfect park to sit and share with you this special shir in honor of Erev Shabbat Kodesh, Parashat Tetzave. Thank you very much to Gershom and Rachel Dandy for sponsoring this edition of the Kabbalah Café in honor of Refuah Shlema of Daniel Bat Rachel Simon. Should be Refuah Shlema and only good blessings, Bezrat Hashem. And of course, thank you to Mordechai and Raya for hosting and broadcasting this year to all of you. And on our YouTube channel, Baruch Hashem, we're over 700 videos on our YouTube channel. You're welcome to listen to our playlist and to enjoy all of the special shiurim and events that we have so far, and always building up our YouTube channel, Baruch Hashem. There was a great chassid. His name was Rabbi Mendel Futterfass, a blessed memory. And he once said a very powerful statement. He said, I've seen many people who care and participate in a person's difficult situation, but I have not seen many people who participate and take part in someone's simchas, in someone's positive situation. That's something which one of the major questions that is asked amongst people is that how is it possible to be happy all the time? You want to say on a birthday, or when a child gets a good mark in school, or when something good happens, of course, you want to be happy. Of course, we have the ability. But if God forbid something negative happens in someone's life, how can a person bring themselves to true simcha? This question is obviously asked as we are in the heart of the month of Adar. Misha nichnas Adar, marbim b'simcha. If so, we think about being happy, we think about simcha, but how can we always be happy? Even when one goes through difficult times. I brought a few examples of good times. I'd rather not bring examples of difficult times, because everyone can imagine to themselves what kind of situation they can find themselves in. And so we want to know and get inspiration from this week's Parsha. Yes.
Rabbi, your audio was off, but it's back on. Thank you.
You're welcome. So we want to know, how is it possible for a person to be constantly b'simcha? When you're talking about someone else, in other words, you're in an objective standpoint. Oh, you can always find a reason for someone else to be b'simcha, because you don't feel their pain. Even if you side with them and you comfort them, but it's hard to put oneself in someone else's shoes. But for someone that's subjected to themselves, how can a person bring themselves to be truly b'simcha all the time, even when there are difficult situations? The first part of this week's Parsha, Tetzave, discusses the Kohen Gadol. The Kohen Gadol, the high priest, had 4 additional garments above every other Kohen. Or in the Beit HaMikdash, in the Holy Temple, had only 4 clothes. The Kohen Gadol, he had a total of 8 clothes. One of the clothes of the Kohen Gadol was the choshen, the breastplate. There were 12 cubes, 12 precious stones that were sewed onto the choshen. In the inside, the choshen was folded in the inside, and inside the fold, you had a special, I believe, piece of parchment, which had written on it the 4 letters of Hashem's holy name. A Yud and a Hey and a Vav and a Hey. The Tetragrammaton. Now, it wasn't just that Hashem's name was inside the Choshen, but this was a special medium through which Hashem communicated with Am Yisrael. If we wanted to know what to do, so all of a sudden the certain letters shown through the Choshen, and then a person knew what to do. That's why the Choshen was called the Urim v'Tumim. Urim was a special inner light, and it gave answers to people who asked questions in front of the Kohen Gadol. So here comes a very interesting question. Why is it that the Kohen Gadol, but why is it that the Kohen was the one who wore this Choshen, who wore the breastplate? Seemingly, who should have really been wearing this Choshen? The leader of Am Yisrael, Moshe Rabbeinu. You know, the Zohar says that there is a spreading of Moshe, a continuation of Moshe in every generation. The Aramaic words are Itpashtuta de Moshe b'chol dara. The spreading of Moshe, the continuation of Moshe in every generation. Correct. Every generation has a Moshe. If so, would it not make more sense for the Moshe, for the leader who has to give answers, who has to make major decisions, who has to be a guide for so many people? Should not Moshe be wearing the Urim v'Tumim, the Choshen? People will come to him, they'll ask him questions, and he'll give the answer, or the answer will shine in front of them. So a very, very interesting answer, and the answer is going to be connected with the fact that it says in the Parsha, if you pay attention when we talk about the Choshen, it says that the Choshen will be al libo, on the Kohen Gadol's heart. So really, the breastplate is on the entire stomach, on the entire front of the Kohen Gadol. But the Torah says 3 times, al libo bivo'o el hakodesh. When he comes into the holy, he will have the Choshen, the Urim v'Tumim on his heart. Why does the Torah put a focus specifically on the heart? And this is going to be the key to the answer. Do you remember about almost 2 months ago, we learned in the Parsha, the first Parsha of Shemot, how Moshe Rabbeinu saw Hashem for the first time in the sneh, in the burning bush. And Moshe said, no, not me. Hashem said, you're going to be the leader. I'm appointing you to be the Goel, to be the Redeemer, to be the Moshe, to be the Mashiach of the generation. Moshe said, not me. Who am I? I'm nothing. He was very humble. And at the end, he also said he couldn't speak clearly. Whatever. I'm not getting into the details right now. Hashem sensed. Please listen carefully. This is a fascinating Talmud. Hashem sensed that Aaron was the older brother, of course, and Hashem sensed that Moshe would be putting his brother Aaron in a difficult situation where he would be jealous of his younger brother. This is unbelievable. And because Hashem sensed that. So Hashem said the following words, and you can look it up in Parashat Shemot. I believe it's between Shishi and Shavi. Hashem says, look, Hine Aharon Yotze Likratecha. Look how Aaron is coming towards you. Are you listening closely? V'ra'acha v'samach b'libo. He will see you and he will be happy in his heart. You just say, he will come and be with you. No, it says, v'ra'acha, and he will see you. He will realize what's happening. He will understand that right now, his younger brother Moshe has accepted upon himself the great zechut of being the Goel, Rishon, the first redeemer of Am Yisrael, b'yitziat Mitzrayim, leaving Mitzrayim, v'samach b'libo, and he will be happy in his heart. He will rejoice. He will rejoice. Now let's analyze this for a moment. What does it mean he will be happy in his heart? Well, obviously we said a moment ago that Moshe was concerned, although he didn't say it, Moshe was concerned that perhaps Aaron would be jealous of him. What did Hashem tell Moshe? You have a very special brother. He's your older brother, but he's a very special individual. To paraphrase, Ohev Shalom Verodev Shalom. He loves peace and he pursues peace. He has the ability to have authentic, true happiness for you. This is such an important and beautiful trait. When you see that someone is having success, when someone is having a simcha, to truly be there for them, to truly be happy for someone, to be happy for your friend, to be deeply elated for a spouse, for a them, you compliment them, not being jealous of them. It's hard because we're human beings. We have feelings. We also want to succeed. But there's something special about v'ra'acha v'samach b'libo, that Aaron is going to see you, Moshe, and he's going to be truly happy. He's going to be deeply happy, not fake happy. Like today, people, when you fly in a plane and you see the steward or the stewardess coming, and they walk down the aisle with a straight face, then they bring you your food, and they have in Hebrew they say it's like a smile which is pasted on. Here's your lunch, and then the smile goes off, and then half a minute later, all of a sudden, here's your. What would you like? It's not a real happiness. It's just like you gotta paint on a Purim mask, so you make believe you're happy. But sometimes you can tell in a person's eyes that they're jealous, and that's so sad. It shouldn't be like that. We learn from Aaron HaKohen. This is such a beautiful message. We learn from Aaron HaKohen how to be. Your brother, your younger brother, has been nominated to be the Redeemer of Am Yisrael. I am so happy for him. Wow. Be successful. I'll be there with you. Is there any way that I can help? But it's not so much the comment, it's also the comment, but it's mainly the samach belibo in his heart. That in his heart, he feels deeply happy. This is why Aaron, of all people, got the reward the Talmud teaches us. of being able to guide Am Yisrael, having the Choshen, the Urim V'Tumim, the Ruach HaKodesh, the divine inspiration with him. Maybe he wasn't the leader. Moshe was a great individual. But Aaron had something special. Aaron was able to give off a ray, a light, a shine, a great feeling. Wow, I have someone who really cares about me. So perhaps Moshe was the one who gave the instructions. But who did it come through? It came through Aaron. And that's why the Torah says, V'haya al libo, it was on his heart. Because it's the same loving heart. That's that same giving heart that Aaron HaKohen had. The Kohen HaGadol. Ohev Shalom, he loved peace. V'rodef Shalom, and he pursued peace. Because this is what Aaron had, and this is the zechut of why he was able to have the Choshen, wearing it as part of the 8 special clothes that the Kohen HaGadol needed to have. To add a very important point about the heart. And this connects the subject of the Choshen Dafka specifically to the heart. We find in a number of situations throughout history that there was jealousy, the opposite of the way Aaron HaKohen acted. Aaron HaKohen gave the benefit of the doubt. And that's where we have to focus on. First of all, creation. When Cain and Hevel, Adam and Chava's 2 sons, when Cain and Hevel, they fought. Why did they fight? The Medrash tells us something very interesting, that Cain was born with 1 twin, a twin girl. Hevel was born with in other words, triplets, with 2 girls. And Cain was jealous of Hevel. So you see that jealousy can really, unfortunately, bring to the worst of the worst. It can bring to death. We also find by the tribes, the Shvatim HaKadoshim of Yaakov, the sons of Yaakov Avinu, that the brothers were jealous of Yosef. That Yaakov loved Yosef and he made him a special garment. To the extent they hated him so much, which came from his jealousy, that they were ready to kill him, to put him in a pit with snakes and scorpions. 1 + 1 = 2. There isn't much of a chance that he would remain alive. There's an interesting story with the story of Chana and Eliah Cohen, the mother of Shmuel. Chana did not have children for many years. And at one point, she stood and she davened to Hashem. We learn many laws of tefillah, of davening the Shmona Esrei, from the way that Chana stood and davened. We actually say this Haftorah on the first day of Rosh Hashanah. That's how holy it is. That's how special it is. And Eli comes to her and says to her, why are you you're acting like you're drunk? The simple meaning is that she was so deep in the davening that she seemed to be not really, down to earth. That was his way of saying you need to act normal. So why did he say that? So apparently it says in the Medrash that Eli, he had the choshen, the breastplate, and he thought that she was drunk, and he saw 4 Hebrew letters that shone it was like a code. That's how Hashem would do with the Ruach HaKodesh, would reveal himself in codes. So there were 4 Hebrew letters. There was a shin, there was a hey, there was a resh, and there was a kaf. So he mixed up the letters, and he saw that it was shikora, shin kaf, resh hey, like a shikora. So he said, here you look. Here Hashem is answering me, yes, she is drunk, shikora. But that was his mistake. He misunderstood the code. The same 4 Hebrew letters spells kishera, kaf, shin, resh, hey. She is kosher. She's doing the right thing. She's acting properly. Or perhaps when I was preparing the class, I thought to myself, maybe it could be another code, which is very similar. It's actually the same letters as kshera, and it reads kisara, like Sarah Imenu, our matriarch, our first matriarch. Anyways, any way you cut the cake, or any way that you scramble the code, it should be crystal clear that Eli misread the code of the Choshen, of the Urim V'Tumim. And therefore, he thought, it's almost as if he judged her wrongly. He misjudged her. And this is the point of our shir today. We're not allowed to misjudge someone else. We always have to give someone the benefit of the doubt. How can we bring ourselves to do this? How can we bring ourselves to feel with another person? To see someone's situation and to be happy for them, to be happy, to be truly, deeply content and happy for the person for being successful. And this is a trait, this is a midah, this is an attribute which is very rare, but we have to nurture this. We have to bring ourselves to be happy ourselves. And here, getting back to the first question that we asked, and soon I'm going to share with you a very short, beautiful insight to finish off today's Kabbalah Café. But just to answer the question, we asked about simcha. How is it possible to be truly happy? So I think if we focus on when we look at someone else, to be truly happy with someone's simcha, then Hashem will bless us. So we'll be able to look at ourselves also in a happy way. Also to find the best. Also to translate, to interpret situations which may be very difficult to interpret in a positive light, and to make the best out of it. And to be truly happy for ourselves, just like we'll be happy for others. You may be aware of the famous story of which led to the destruction of the first Beit HaMikdash. At least one of the stories. But it's famous, Kamtza and Bar Kamtza. 2 individuals. There was a very rich man that had a friend that his name was Kamtza, and he had an enemy whose name was Bar Kamtza. And he made a big meal. He sent his messenger to go and invite Kamtza, and his messenger was probably deeply distracted with his WhatsApps. So he didn't focus too much, unfortunately. Like many people don't focus because they're so busy with their technology, so they don't have time to listen to their friends and to their boss and to their spouses. They're just so busy with their WhatsApps, and so he, instead of calling Kamta, he called Bar Kamta. Sounds the same. It's almost the same. And of course, when the rich man saw Bar Kamta, he blew a fit and he screamed at him in front of everyone, "Get out of my house." Obviously, there's no excuse for doing that. And he said, "Don't worry, I'll pay you for my portion." "Nope, get out of my house." "I'll pay you for half the meal." "Nope, I'll pay you for the whole meal." And of course, he was terribly embarrassed. There's no excuse for what the rich man did, and there's no excuse for what Bar Kamsa did. But he went and told the emperor, and that was one of the major points that led to the destruction of the Beit. So a simple question can be asked over here. Why was Kamsa not at the rich man's meal? Your friend is making a celebration, whether it was a personal simcha or it was thanking Hashem for something special. Why were you, Kamsa, not at your friend's simcha? What's the obvious answer? Probably you didn't know about it. I'm sorry, I meant to say, what's up for the answer? Probably that the rich man didn't invite him. He probably knew about it, because how big was Yerushalayim at the time? And we're talking about friends and the rich man making a simcha. For sure, it was news was all over the place. Without modern technology, I'm sure they succeeded to have. But he didn't invite me, he didn't mention it to me, he forgot to tell me, so he didn't show up. Can you imagine if he would have shown up? It would have saved the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash. From here we learn how we have to be happy for someone, how we have to participate in someone's simcha. Even if you were not invited, go there, even for 5 minutes or 15 minutes. You don't have to eat. You could eat, especially here in Israel. It's much more acceptable. But even around the world, what's the big deal? I promise you, even if you were not invited and you go to celebrate with your friend, give him a big hug and participate deeply, like Aaron HaKohen. There's no better way to make someone feel good. Of course, God forbid someone's sitting Shiva or someone's going through a difficult time and you call them, that's wonderful. But nothing can compare to participating in someone's simcha. So hopefully today we get the message from Aaron HaKohen. Aaron HaKohen was v'ra'acha v'samach b'libo. He saw Moshe and he was deeply, truly happy. Simcha pnimit. Simcha unique, and we have to learn from that. And therefore, Aaron HaKohen had the zechut to be the guide for all of Am Yisrael, to be the Urim v'Tumim, to shine and inspire and light up people's lives. And that Choshen, the Urim v'Tumim, was al libo b'va'ol HaKodesh. It was on his heart. That was his sachar. That was his reward. Thank you very much for joining us. Have a wonderful Shabbat. And Bezrat Hashem, tonight we have Mincha at 5 o'clock. Tomorrow morning, Chasidut at 9 o'clock. Davening is at 9:30. We're looking forward to seeing everyone at the big Hachnasat Sefer Torah, Bezrat Hashem, in about 2.5 weeks, Wednesday, March 2nd, Erev Rosh Chodesh Adar Sheni. All the best. Shalom, shalom, and Shabbat shalom.